What is up, everybody? Shawn Tubbs here with Revv Amps.
And I'm Dan Trudeau, President and Product Designer.
And today we're hanging out at Sweetwater checking out the brand new D25 combo. Now this amp is based on an earlier amp called the D20, but we've made some changes based on some input from me, but also based on customer input. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that, Dan?
Yeah, this amplifier has been designed to be a little bit louder, so 5 extra watts were put into it, just to add a little bit more headroom. The gain structure is a little bit different. The voicing on the top end is a little more chimey, so just based off of some input from customers, we decided to make it a little bit more impactful that way. And we added reverb to it. That was another thing that D20 was missing according to customer input, and so we put that on board and gave it the ability to adjust the level as you see fit.
Yeah, and also we ended up adding a foot switchable gain boost on the other D20. That was not something that was an option, but based on customer input, we listened. So now the gain boost, we'll get into how that sounds, is now foot switchable. And all Revv amplifiers come with the 2 Notes Dynamis reactive load software. So let's dive right into some sounds. I'm going to go ahead and start with just kind of a basic chimey clean, and then we'll go from there. We'll start turning knobs and just let you guys hear what it does. So right now it sounds pretty chimey. This is a fairly high headroom amplifier, but we can go ahead and push the amp just a little bit more just from the front end or the gain. I'll turn that up just a bit. So we went from pretty clean to really open and almost kind of that bluesy open breakup, but still with a glassy top end without it becoming strident. Now if I back this back off, we can just check out the treble really quick and just find the range there. So a pretty broad range as far as the top end of the amp is concerned. I'm going to run straight over to the bass control and let you guys check that out, because this amp does have a big just bottom end or low end response, but that can be dialed in or out. Okay, so here's the bass control all the way up. Bass control all the way off. So it's really easy to tailor the amp in to the low end. It never gets out of control or flubby regardless of where that bass is set. Let's look at the mids really quick. If you turn the mids all the way up, mids all the way off. So it's a really sweet mid circuit. It's not too honky. It sits really well. Now let's look at the reverb really quick. I've got the reverb about halfway up. I'm going to go ahead and just shut it off. Go about halfway. We want it more subtle. Or we can go all the way up. So it is a digital reverb, but it sounds very springy, very natural. It doesn't get too bright, won't get overwhelming. Let's check out the gain boost. And as I mentioned before, that is foot switchable. So it is gonna add gain, but it's also gonna make the amp kind of spread out a little bit. So check it out. And as I mentioned before, the foot switching was a custom or customer requested option, and Dan, you can hear that it's really nice to just be able to bang that on for like a solo tone, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to have to use a push-pull knob with your amp far away is just not going to cut it on stage.
It's going to have questionable results. So that is the gain boost. Sounds really great. Now, what I will do just really quick is I'm going to turn that back on, and I'm going to go ahead and turn things up over here and just see how much gain we can get from the amp. And I kind of screwed up a little bit on the playing, but that's fine because that's being real. So you can hear that I got quite a bit of gain there just simply by rolling that up. I did tailor the low end just a little bit so it would stay tight. But as you can hear, you can get quite a bit of gain out of this amp simply by using the gain boost and pushing the amp. The other thing I do want to point out is regarding the two notes, because we need to talk about what's happening right here. You have a virtual cabinet selector. You can load any Dyna-IR you want. It comes with preloaded Dyna-IRs all the way from a 4x12 cab all the way to a 1x12 cab. But if you choose, you can load your own Dyna-IRs in there and switch between them. This is your output level for the headphone jack, which is a really great feature. If you just want to listen on phones and bypass a speaker, you can. But this is also the output level for the XLR outs that are in the back of the amp that will go straight to either front of house or your DAW. It's an excellent recording option for silent recording. The other thing I want to point out is we are running at 25 watts. You can bump it down to 5 watts. So now the amp's a little bit less efficient, so if you want it to break up at what would be considered speaking levels or bedroom levels, you're able to do that without changing anything in your tone stack. So that's another really great option on the amplifier. So that is the Revv D25. If you've got any other questions about the product, please reach out to your Sweetwater sales engineer.